Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Artful Chiropractor Podcast. My name is Dr. Ray Daniels. This episode, I'm extremely grateful to have Dr. Damiano Costa back on the podcast. He's been here multiple times now, but it's just so good to catch up with him, especially as KTC Europe begins to take off. More and more students and more docs over there are jumping in and joining this culture and joining this path. So I'm stoked to have him back on the podcast and to be able to catch up with him on a regular basis. But in this episode, we dive into how the KTC training culture and him being a KTC lead facilitator has impacted his ability to serve, the accountability that the group brings, and just the accountability that he has for himself when he has to show up and teach and inspire young docs and students. So it's awesome to hear his journey through that and the process when he's lost some of that inspiration or motivation and what he does to kind of gain it back, because he's not practicing with a bunch of chiropractors in the same practice. So he really has to build that intrinsic motivation and inspiration for him to continue to train. But he's always done such an amazing job, and he's shown up so big for this training culture, and I'm so excited to see his evolution and to be able to catch up with him on a more regular basis as KTC Europe takes off. And another big takeaway that I had after talking with Dr. Damiano is that he does such a good job of taking time to reflect and really contemplate what is going on in his current life and where he wants to go and what he's trying to create, but at the same time just holding space for where he's at, holding space for the path that he is currently on, and just having an absolute abundance of gratitude for the present moment and the current struggles, and where he's going to be able to use those struggles and resistance to sharpen his sword, sharpen his training, and ultimately continue this path of evolution and become the absolute greatest version of himself. So much love goes out to Dr. Damiano, and without further ado, welcome back to the podcast and enjoy this episode. Dr. Damiano Costa, welcome back, man.
Thank you so much, Ray. Hello, everybody. So good to be here again. It's been a while.
Yes, it has been a while. I've had a few of these podcasts recently where I've got to catch up with Jordan, and even having Brett on. It was quite a while since having him on. So it's good to connect back with you guys. But yeah, man, how's life?
Life is good, man. Life is all good. Now I've been spending a year almost in Naples, down south of Italy, enjoying practicing here with in the practice with 3 docs and 4 physiotherapists, and starting to facilitating some training camps in Europe, and which I'm very excited about. and then apart from that, all good. Keep training and keep shining as much as I can.
That's awesome, man. So have you guys done, how many camps have you started with the Europe? You've done a couple, right? Or how many have you done?
Yeah, well, we have, if you consider the first ones of like 2016, now we think we've done 3 camps. But this year we did one in Denmark, and that was the first one. There were just European lead facilitators, which were Lenny, Leonard Kribel, David Rydos, and myself. So that was the first one of like KTC Europe that was not involving directly Brad Lance or Jordan. So
nice. How did that one go?
It's rolling. Yeah, it was good. It was really good. It turned out we had a lot of students from SDU, from the university in Denmark, which were very excited with the content and the knowledge we were providing. They participated a lot. They were like full on, and it was so happy. We were so stoked by how easy for us was, for them was to receive the information, and how like quickly they were learning the drills, the strikes, the presence, the meditation. It was, for us, honestly, it was easier than we thought it would be.
Did you think you were going to have a little bit? Did you think you're going to have a little bit more resistance? Because I'm not really sure, like where they were coming, what they had coming into it with,
That's the thing. Like, we knew the people that were kind of leading the trainings, because they have been training a while before we got the camp there. So right. We knew they were training. We were just not sure, because the way that receive chiropractic education in Denmark is a bit different than kind of anywhere else in the world. So we always try, to come to find a common ground and speak a language that everybody can resonate with. So we were very aware of that. We were like just trying to make it as easy and as direct and as, easy for them to understand as possible. But honestly, they responded very well. So we could even dig into like deeper layers, which were probably, honestly, for myself, I wasn't expecting.
Right. And, you worked with David and Lenny, and how did you guys all work together? Did that go pretty smooth?
It was also another interesting experiment because I knew Lenny from WCCS, that's, back in 2013. So I knew him well. I knew also David a little bit, but we never facilitated a camp, not even a training, the three of us together. So it was very interesting how the different skills, that we have interacted pretty well with, with the facilitating of the whole camp, because, we received so many feedbacks and, so much help from you guys in the States, from Brett, Lance, Jordan, and everybody else. But, we needed to have the experience to actually understand what some of the tips and the, suggestions, meant.
Right.
And then it was good though. Like, to be honest, again, it all worked so smooth. We interacting like, some of us facilitating a session while the two others, one was taking pictures, the other one was, checking postures and, facilitating whatever needed to be facilitated. And we were interacting pretty well. So to be honest, I feel that was a really big success overall.
Awesome. Yep. And when was that camp, Damiano?
That was in the end of September 29th, 30th of September.
Okay. That's so exciting. Yep. It's so awesome just to literally see this global community continue to grow. And I can't wait to get to the next event and just like see. It'd be so cool to be able to connect with people from all over the world. I don't know what that's going to look like, but as it continues to grow, more and more students and docs from all over, are beginning to train. And it's just so cool that KTC Europe is like, it's beginning to take off. And, the students and docs are just craving it so much. What's your kind of vision for KTC Europe and kind of where do you see What's the role that you see you're playing in?
Ooh, that's a multiple points question. So I'm very excited about what I see happening in Europe in general, like talking about chiropractic artistry, because I see there is a lot of interest from the students. So a lot of students reaching out to us saying, "Hey guys, we would like you to come over to our school to come for like a level 1, a camp, so we can start training and clubs." So it really looks like there is a lot of interest and from the students, which is the future of the profession. So right. That makes me very, very, very excited. And as I kind of always say, wherever my presence needs to be, I'll be there. Like if there is a need for me to facilitate camps, I will facilitate camps. If there is a need for me to sit to whatever, like meetings and explain what KTC is and bring KTC forward, I'll do that. Logistics, whatever, I'll do whatever I'm called upon. I'll do my best as always. And because I see the value. I see the value in this community, and I really want to bring this community in Europe, and I want this community in Europe to grow as much as possible.
Right. And how does the training camps and just being involved with the KTC community, like how does that show up in your practice too? Because I think I'm just imagining how cool it is to be able to go to a camp and facilitate and then be able to go back to practice on Monday, and be able to have that consistent.
There's one main word that comes to my head right now, which is accountability. It's all about accountability for the people I train with and for the people I serve. Having the responsibility of delivering an information to students that will help them become better chiropractors makes me pretty aware, like really aware that I need to, you know, walk the walk, not just talk the talk, right?
Mm.
And I think that it is the exact same, you know, principle that I apply it to my practice. If I, you know, serve people in practice and I tell to the guys on the weekend that how presence is important, but then when I get into practice, I'm not aware of how present I am during what I do during my adjustments, then it just doesn't feel right.
Right.
So for me, it's an opportunity to check in every time with myself and say, hey, you know, are you there, aware, present, breathe in, breathe out, let's serve, let's help, let's facilitate, hold space. So it really, really, really helps me to stay present and to be accountable for anything I do, basically.
Yeah, I completely agree. And just thinking about, you know, just really just minimizing for me, I love like Patrick Gentempo, and he's talking about like minimizing the contradictions. And it's, I think even with doing a podcast like this and talking about some of these things, it's like if you're not doing it, but yet you're talking about it, like you said, it just doesn't feel right at all. And it's the same thing when I'm taking care of people in the office. It's like, I don't know, it just raises that level of accountability because it's like you're talking about this with people. It's like you've got to be living it. And there's a whole nother standard when you're teaching it and talking to it about other people. Like you have to live that. And you're right. Accountability is huge. Integrity. That is really cool that those camps kind of fuel that for you and just kind of raise the bar for you in that sense when you go back to practice.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And also, you know, the fact that I'm aware that, you know, I'm going to be teaching camps next year all over Europe helped me to get out there and, you know, take seminars because there is it's just an everlasting journey of, you know, evolution and growth and change. And so the more I get exposed to information, the more I can, you know, deliver it and improve the ability to facilitate new information for students or Kairos.
Yeah, that's a perfect segue because that's something that I've been thinking about, like planning this next year ahead. I'm like, wow, I want to get to definitely some KTC seminars, but then there's some other ones because I want to continue to evolve my artistry in different ways. So I'm curious, like, how are you creating or deciding on what you're going to be putting your time into in terms of seminars, whether could be related to BGI, it could be KTC, it could be communication. So like, what is your like funnel or how you're going to make those decisions on which ones you want to go to?
In this past year, I didn't count them all, but I feel like I've been to like 20 or so seminars. It was crazy. Every month there was like 2 or 3 seminars I wanted to go to, and I went. So for now, a little bit is also because of what happened in, you know, back home with my family. My dad had an open heart surgery. I kind of stepped back for a sec and I put everything in pause for just a little bit to kind of process what was happening to him and to us, and, you know, what that meant for my life and my future. But I'm definitely willing to coming in strong next year. There is going to be some BGI for sure because that's my jam, as you remember. And I don't know. I feel like I am gonna probably, you know, keep an eye on functional neurology because it's also becoming a bigger thing here in Europe. There is a lot of CARIC, you know, functional neurology seminars going on in Amsterdam, Madrid. Now there is one in Lisbon in January, I believe. So there is a lot of opportunities, you know, so I can just easily reach out and go to one of those seminars. Mm-hmm. So I'm definitely interested in functional neurology for next year.
Nice.
And then I'll see. I'll just as every year, I kind of like try to follow the flow. Like for example, um, last year, well, this year, in the end of August, Katina was coming to Hamburg for a seminar, and I was not supposed to go to that, to Katina seminar because I just realized at the last second. But then I said, there is no way I'm gonna miss Katina whenever she gets up after visit. And I learned a few weeks ago that she's coming again in, I think it's going to be I don't remember exactly, but I think it's January. She's coming back to Europe again for another seminar, which is
Right.
like, those are the last minute decision that you just say, I can't miss there is no way I'm going to miss Katina when she's here. So I'm kind of like following the flow and see who is coming, see who's coming and
Right.
try to as many seminars as I can.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know, because I'm like looking ahead this year, and I didn't do a ton of the ICPA or pediatric stuff. I mean, innately, like, I've taken care of some kids and moms, but part of me really wants to dive in. So I'm like, okay, I kind of want to do a couple of those seminars, and then I'm like,
Yep.
but I definitely got to get to some KTC ones, and I still haven't done a BGI one. So I want, to make, I know, right? For whatever reason, but I want to get there. So it's just like planning my year out, and and then our office, we have some different coaching ones too around systems and business and communication. So it's like trying to sit down and plan those out. And then I'm in the office on Saturdays, so it's like
that's not very easy.
I've got to.
You gotta plan it very well.
Yeah, I've got to plan it really well and really find those ones that I'm gonna have the biggest impact and be able to integrate, the most, because I have to take time away from the office and seeing people. But then, like you said, at the same time, it's just like checking in with, all right, like, am I having enough play? My roommate and I were planning on doing some like backpacking trips too, so it's like getting those in there because those feed the soul too.
Yes, totally.
So,
And
yeah,
that's I feel like what you just said is a big one as well. Like, hold space for yourself and for everything that is not necessarily strictly related to chiropractic.
right.
Because I feel like if we just live and breathe chiropractic for like 24/7, I feel like the ability to integrate everything can be challenged a bit.
Yeah, 100%.
Step out and you go rock climbing or we by backpacking or whatever makes you feel alive and health and whatever interests you have, just hold space for that to happen.
Right. Yeah, and I've erred on the side of not integrating. So it's just like I kind of want to, as much as there's so many different things I want to do this next year, part of me wants to be like, all right, do less and just see what that feels like and see if I can fully integrate the things that I do go to and see what that's like. And like you said, just have space for these other things. And, Brett and I were talking about that as well. Is just for that like creative space and these breakthroughs and like some of these things that only happen when you're either by yourself or you're like quiet in nature, like doing something like that. So allow some space next year for that to happen too.
Yep. Yeah, I totally put that on the list as well.
Awesome, man. Cool. So, you mentioned you're working with some docs and some physios. Because I know last time we chatted, it's just like, this is probably not the end place where you want to be. How are you working through, like, I guess, creating or working on manifesting that ideal spot for you? But at the same time, like, enjoying where you're at right now and being present and all of that.
It's challenging sometimes. And every time I feel like it's becoming tough to be where I am and still like hold myself accountable for everything we just spoke about. Every time I just close my eyes, take a deep breath in, breathe out, and hold space, because I keep repeating myself. It's also part of the process, right? It's just it has been working so smoothly. My way, like the way I took the decision to come here and to start working here, and everything since that decision, it was everything like super smooth. So I know I am where I'm supposed to be, and that allows me to be at peace and at ease with myself, with the awareness that most likely this is not going to be a long-term situation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, and I'm trying to, as I said, like hold space for myself to express my, weaknesses and my uh just, my feeling of like being lost and missing out, and all these kind of things, because ultimately that's about me. That's just it's just me expressing myself, and through some struggles, I know I'm gonna get out stronger, and I'm gonna be more clear on my vision.
Mm.
So I kind of, well, it's easy to say than to do, but I kind of welcome the struggle,
Yeah. Yeah, for
just so
sure.
I know what I don't want and what I want.
Right. And being able to just sit with that and enjoy this process right now, because that really gives you
Absolutely.
such a good I don't know, a context, like you said, for what you want and what you don't want. And because so many I think a lot of our listeners, I mean, they're going to jump out of school, and
Yep.
more often than not, they're not going to be in their ideal spot right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, if they can hold space and just look at it as, I'm going to learn a ton, in this position,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
really take that time to be able to cultivate and manifest what they do want, down the road.
Being grateful,
Right.
like appreciate every opportunity and everything you have, even if you're struggling. There must be at least three things you can be grateful for every day.
Right. Yeah. And that's, I mean, that ultimately, that habit right there is probably one of the greatest habits any of us can cultivate in our lives.
Yep.
And you've gone through those challenges. I mean, you're training pretty much by yourself when you're not at a
Yep.
KTC camp, and that's challenging, and like you said, you've got
Yep.
that accountability when you do go to a KTC camp and you're facilitating. You go home, you're like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I've got to make sure I'm leveling up. But
Yep.
for those docs out there and students listening who are probably more so docs that are training by themselves, and what do you do? And you've hit those walls before where it's like you're kind of at a low point, and you maybe haven't been to a KTC seminar, you haven't connected with some of your peeps in a while. Kind of what's your process during some of those low points?
Huh. Well, and one of the first thing I do is just talk to myself and say it's okay, it's fine, you just hold space. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay. I mean, you're vulnerable. Sometimes happens that, that week I didn't train as I wanted to. I didn't train at all, but it's good. I just got busy doing something else, or I just got lazy. It's okay to get lazy sometimes. We are not, at least I think we're not machines.
Right.
So recuperation is also a big one there. But then either I reach out to people that I know in the community that I've been connecting with for so long. I just take my notes out and I just start writing. Just start asking myself, why do I feel that? What's happening? What do I want? Why am I showing up? Why do I train? For who do I train? And why do I want to keep training?
Mm.
So I just do some review, like self review, and every time it comes out something that's like, okay, well, you train for yourself and you train for everybody, and to be able to serve at the highest level possible every day. So that's a big one, and also I feel the recognition in that when I've been asked to teach level ones. So that's like, okay, well, someone must have seen something in you that sometimes you even yourself you doubt about it. So
Mm.
if someone that you actually really have it in such a high scale in your values, someone who you really consider a mentor asks you to do something like that, it means there is something there you're doing that is good. So keep doing it.
Yes.
So also kind of like motivate myself. And also, I also try to find some balance in just stuff that I like to do, that I love to do.
Right.
Rock climbing. Now, I've been starting a few months ago, and I'm just loving it. I'm just loving it. So that's also training. And I actually, it's funny because every time we go to one of those indoor, walls like gyms where you just do indoor rock climbing, bouldering, we do a warm up first, right? And so the first time I showed up there, I didn't know almost anyone. I just know one person, and then just started to do a Cairo specific warm up. And the people kind of looked at me like, this guy knows his shit. So everybody reaching out like, so why are you doing that? Why are you doing these like? And I told them, oh, this is called Founder. What's this Founder about? Blah blah blah. So I was just warming up, not doing anything too weird. I was just warming up.
A founder's going to get attention, man.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. In the gym, I'm like, it's so funny. Everybody, like all the gym instructors and people are looking at me like, what is this guy doing?
Right.
With doing these strikes with bands, and what's this deal about? And it's funny because like 70% of them don't even have the courage to reach out to me and ask. But the 30% that do, they're like, dude, what the heck are you doing there?
Right.
I'm like, no, I'm a chiropractor, I'm training, blah, blah. Oh, right. And like half of them ended up become patients because they just say, oh, yeah, I need you, blah, blah, blah. And then they come in.
That's so cool. And then if they see, a chiropractor who's like training to become the best that they can be and to serve at the highest level, it's like, yeah, I'd rather go see that weird chiropractor who's training in the gym too.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because he looks like he's holding himself accountable to, serve people at the best level possible.
Yeah, that's so funny. I too have gotten into rock climbing since I've been back in Reno, and I'm loving it. And Rick in the office, he kind of got me into it, but I was doing like the wrist mobility routine, and this guy came over and he was like, "You injured your wrist?" And I'm like, "Oh no, just prevention and keeping it healthy." And I'm a chiropractor, and he was just like had this huge long conversation. He like started asking about it and kind of wanted to know the routine, and he had some issues with his wrists and elbows. But yeah, it's funny for those people who do reach out. It's just like it's cool the connection that gets made.
Yeah, and there is no effort.
Right.
No effort from our side saying like we need to spread this out. It's just live it. Just just be who you are and train the way you train. People will come. People will reach out.
Definitely. Awesome, man. I really enjoyed this. Just flew by. This 25 minutes.
Wow. That was really quick.
I know it. Are you going to be coming to the San Francisco area anytime soon? Any plans?
I have no idea. Not for now, but who knows?
Okay.
Who knows? I'm always open to whatever happens. I honestly, this is probably the first time in the last few years that I have not even one flights booked for now, like for the next few weeks or months.
Right. Apart
from the ones for Christmas, whatever, there is no flights booked in my agenda. So I'm like, what's happening? I'm like, am I not going anywhere now anymore? I know it's gonna happen, but it's just like for now, I'm like, okay, well, looks like there is no reservation for now on.
Right.
For flights, but yeah, I'm gonna find an excuse to come over, like as easy as that.
Sounds good, man. In the meantime, we'll just allow our listeners to get their slow drip of Damiano through podcasts every now and again.
Of course, a pleasure as usual.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ray. Man. And then
thank you for doing what you do.
Of course, brother. And we'll be chatting soon.
Of course. Okay. Have a great day.
You too, brother. Peace.
Bye.
All right, TAC listeners, if you enjoy this one, head over to iTunes or Stitcher so you can subscribe to the podcast and get an automatic download of our newest episode each and every week. While you're at it, we would love a review, a comment, a rating, anything that will allow us to reach more docs and more students and continue to raise the bar in chiropractic performance training. If
you haven't yet checked out the artfulchiropractor.com, you can do that for show notes for this episode and previous ones, along with any of the resources that our docs are dropping. And if you haven't yet checked out the Kairos Training Culture Community Facebook page, you have to get there, send a request with a message of who you are and why you want to be a part of the group, because there are so many amazing golden nuggets that are being dropped every single day that are elevating the chiropractic performance game. So with that, I hope you all have an amazing rest of your week as always, and until next time, peace.